So, any questions before we start? Yes, no, no, yes? Emilia? No? All right. And then on the quiz, because today's the practical day, you get one extra question. So you have a chance to pick up extra point. How about that? So it'll be 6 questions for the quiz. Huh? Yes, good quiz. Let's see. Computer's off again. These people. Let's actually, since we're here, we talk about a couple of things. Since we're going to be talking about hormones, let's start here. Actually, you asked about class being early. We might be able to because the structures, I mean, you know the structures, we talked about them. As I said, mostly I'm concerned with the hormones. I'll be talking about those. In fact, I'll be asking you questions. Don't worry, I'll ask most of my questions from the first class because they've done with that practical, they're a little more relaxed. As opposed to second class that are sitting there nervously, so I won't be asking you. So, if I ask you, Jamie, why am I picking on you? You're in second class.
I don't know.
So if I ask you, what's the relationship between hypothalamus and an anterior pituitary? What will you tell me? What's the relationship? Remember, we talked about reproductive. Maybe you can help. What's the relationship?
Do they give the okay?
Yes, they give the okay to the anterior pituitary to do what? Make hormones, yes. Oh, good. How do they okay to make the hormones? They say, please, okay it. And their okay is not verbal, it's chemical. By releasing GnRH. Can somebody translate what does that stand for? Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Good. You guys have covered this in physiology? Where's Christian? I heard your voice. Where are you? Okay. So you've covered this, right? That's good. I can come back to you and ask you. So this one tells this guy, it's okay, go ahead and release hormones. Brian, what kind of hormones this guy's going to release? Let's say we talk about the male reproductive system. I'm going to start with male because it's a little simpler. Which one? We're not there yet. Kim, what are you going to say?
I'm sorry.
What are you going to say? Anterior pituitary is going to release hormones. Which hormones anterior pituitary is releasing?
FSH.
Yes. Releasing FSH and LH. FSH stands for follicle. Stimulating hormone. This guy stands for luteinizing hormone. So far so good? So this is their relationship. This guy communicates with this guy. They release hormones. Now, which hormone, this luteinizing hormone that is released by anterior pituitary gland, we talked about male reproductive. What does the LH do? That is released by the anterior pituitary. Stimulates what? Ovulation. Now, better if you're male, you better not to ovulate. You'll be in big trouble if you ovulate. That would be the guy in Oregon who had the baby last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? There we go. Yes. What does it do to the latex cells? Yes. Yes. Stimulates the Leydig cells or interstitial cells. I don't know which one your book calls it. Interstitial cells to produce testosterone. Problem solved. Or simpler English, ovulate. Right? No, we don't use ovulation. That's production of testosterone, sex hormone. Yes, we're going to get there. You are absolutely correct. So, now what about the follicle stimulating hormone? This one you can tell, this is stolen from female stem parts because males don't have follicles to stimulate, right? In males, what happens is this one, follicle stimulating hormone, basically stimulates the particular cells, which are called blank Sertoli cells, to produce what? Oh my.
Is it androgen?
Estrogen? Man, we're talking about the Oregon man again. So, Sertoli cells to produce what?
Androgen?
Sperm.
Sperm.
Yes. We'll talk about male reproductive system. I have to emphasize this. Yes. To produce sperm. Yes. I know it's a long day for some of you who've been in the lab for 6 hours and some of you who just can't wait until you start your practical exam. This is in the male reproductive system. Basically you have two hormones produced by the anterior pituitary, which gets the okay from the hypothalamus to produce LH, which basically involved in production of testosterone. The details of this, how it's going to work and what they're going to do, you're going to learn in physiology. But right now we just know which structure is responsible for what hormone. And all I'm asking. I think it's simple enough. Nothing complicated. What inhibits the production of testosterone? How many molecules of testosterone has to be produced? What creates that? What says that stop it? We don't care about that stuff. Those are all physiology stuff that you're going to learn in your physiology classes. But at least you know where these things are produced. If I ask you what is the production or the process of a sperm production is called, what do you say, Jennifer? Spermatogenesis. It's the production, it's the process that gives rise to the sperm. Easy enough? Now, this is the male, in a nutshell, male hormones. It's pretty easy enough. Now, if I ask you, then again, let's see, Ashley, this question is for you, right? If I ask you, so we decide that Sertoli cells are responsible. Where are the Sertoli cells located? Remember, we're talking about anatomy of these structures. Where are the Sertoli cells located? So when you were dissecting the cats, I don't know about the second class, but first class, remember? I asked you to skin the testicle, one of the testes, and expose epididymis. So epididymis is the tube that actually carries the sperm, right? But before we get there, there's another tube. This is the cross section of that tube. Can you see the green color? Or is it hard to see? There's a tube there, and this tube, this is the cross section of the tube, lined with these cells. This is the lumen of the tube. This tube is called seminiferous. Yes. Seminiferous tube or tubule. So here, there's a lumen, there's a little opening inside. So the process of the spermatogenesis, what do you think these cells are called? Sertoli cells. We said the Sertoli cells, it's where the site where the sperms are produced. So the seminiferous tubules that we're talking about, this is where the Sertoli cells are located. Another name for it is it's the sustenticular cells. I don't know what calls it, sustenticular cells or Sertoli cells. So these cells are responsible, they line the lumen, they line the side of the lumen of these cells, of the tubes, and they produce sperm. They're actually interesting if you see the process from the genesis. So you have the stem cells here, and these stem cells, as they grow, as they mature, they drop here, and then they become sperm. So you find bigger